Hey there, my name is John. You're watching the Stryx YouTube channel. Today is the third video in a series of behind the scenes videos where we're digging into the early days of Stryx, how we got from concept into launching, and today I'm excited to dig into the design and packaging for our products, which is a major component of why Stryx exists. And so joined by Devere, co-founder of Stryx, and we're gonna dig into the early days. So you had this concept, you wanted to make products for guys, specifically for guys. Where'd you go from there?
Yeah, so we had this original concept of like, what would it look like if we made a concealer that looked like a pen? We had these super early renderings, whatever. We just had some graphic artists do it. But we knew that we really needed to go to a real like product design firm. There are a bunch of them out there, some obviously better than others. We went through a bunch of different options and spoke with them and interviewed them, and we ended up settling on Prime Studio, who I guess rose to fame by designing Harry's razors, the Gobi toothbrush, the Axe body detailer, that like half loofah, half scrubby thing. So they're really excellent. They don't just take on any client even, but they liked what we were doing, believed in what we were doing, and thought they could do a good job. They absolutely did. And so they came up with this idea of, making this, how I guess the actual Stryx concealer ended up looking is kind of like a pen, but it doesn't look like just, any old pen. The original designs, I think we had like some sort of metal, like something like that. But they came up with obviously the design that everyone knows and loves now. This the black tube with the scalloped edge at the bottom. This is an early prototype of it. It looks like the final thing, but if you look really closely, I doubt this is going to come through. But this piece at the base is like an unfinished material. It's not filled, right? It's empty. And this was not easy to make even. We had, once we had the product design, then you now need to find a manufacturer that could take the design and actually make it real. And that was not easy to find. We went to trade shows. We spoke with different manufacturers. I was driving around to every potential supplier, in like a 45 hour and a half radius from where I lived at that point, and no one would do it. No one wanted to make something custom like this. We were rejected by manufacturer after manufacturer. Not going to name names, but they're probably one of the largest manufacturers in this industry. Took basically 6 months to get back to us and say, no, we can't do it. I mean, by then we already had a manufacturer that would do it, and we did. So we ended up finding one. Again, this is just from calling and speaking to dozens and dozens and going and interviewing and whatever it was. We love our manufacturer, a fantastic relationship with them. So they, this was an early prototype of the pen that we did. This is an early prototype of the tinted moisturizer. Prime Studio also did that, as you can see, unfinished, white over there. This is all just to get a sense.
The Chinese Darth Vader's helmet. I never thought of it.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very much unfinished. Just to get a sense of what it would look like. We also have these 3D prints. They have a 3D printing machine. So this is like an early print of what will be the lip balm coming soon. So we were able to get a sense even earlier on of what it would look like. And then you have to actually make the molds. So these like super intense, very expensive metal molds that you then pour the resin or whatever it is into, that then solidifies into the various pieces. I think there are almost a dozen components in here, which means we needed a dozen molds, because any component needs its own mold. There's a huge upfront cost associated with that. And every mold has to be tested and tempered and modified and tweaked and refined. I mean, this is like pretty much close to final. This is after literally dozens of earlier prototypes until we got to a point that we were happy with. And even after we launched, we continued to refine the concealer. So people, and some people have noticed this, the concealer that we were selling day one, it has gotten better, right? So we're shipping version 3 of the concealer right now, which, we refined a bunch of things, improved some things, the way the pieces fit together and the overall feel and weight of it. But yeah, I mean, all the complications is basically the reason why no other companies have done this. And the same thing also goes for the product packaging. I know we wanted to discuss that also, but we originally wanted to go with this really premium packaging, which we did. This is the earliest box prototype. So you could see like on the back, there's, not real text there, no barcode. But this was the early version of the box. This really like bright, almost neon blue. And again, we wanted this like premium experience, this like really nice unboxing experience to go with the brand. We ended up shifting to a darker blue color. You can see them side by side better there for the final release. And now, as we've kind of heard from customers that are buying their second, their third, their fourth concealer, that this packaging was a little bit wasteful, a little wasteful to ship, a little over the top. And as we've gone into retail as well, we've updated to a new packaging that does a better job explaining what the product is, much more environmentally friendly, both as far as the actual materials and also the shipping associated with them. So yeah, that's kind of the design, the packaging, and remember, the same thing that applies to the concealer applies to the tinted moisturizer, the gel cleanser as well, and our next product as well, which we'll tease here. You can pause the video. And look at that. So that's the product design, manufacturing, all that fun stuff.
Very cool. And so now next time we'll talk about those. So it's one thing to you want to have this really cool design, but then also the shade, like the formulation process of getting that right too. Because as we talk about our manufacturer, I mean, we didn't just want a manufacturer, we wanted somebody that could have the standards that we were looking for, because we wanted to have a very premium product. And so we will cover that in the fourth video, which is going to be about the shade formulation and really getting the product created. And then we'll talk about launch later on. So thank you for joining us for the behind the scenes videos. We'll link to the rest of them down in the description or over on a playlist on our site. And that is Stryx, you more handsome.